What's up guys, I'm Jordan from RKTunes and I think this might be my new car behind me. This is a F22 M240. I've always looked at HTK Racing's F22 Street Fighter over the course of a while and always thought it was like insane looking. The car has carbon Kevlar everywhere. The ones they build, they always try to make them really light. And I've always looked at it and thought it was great. Also, for me driving these cars, years ago when I drove my first M2 and they just came out, I sort of loved it. It felt more like an E36. I think the wheelbase is within like a half an inch or a quarter inch versus an F80 is longer. So you try to slide an F80 on the street, it's really hard to spin out and it just sort of floats and it's super nice. The M2s I drove were way twitchier. And the first one I drove actually was from a different shop. They had issues and they said I could do whatever I want with it and have fun. Ended up being, we now did an upgrade turbo and that car makes 700 wheels. So it's cool how it all comes back around. Driving the M2 was pretty great. It felt like E36, super nice. It had steering response and it worked great. It was super fun. I didn't do any crazy drifts or anything like that, just little street slides on big open areas, and it felt really, really good. Combining all those things, HTK makes a crazy kit. I want that, I'm not doing that. It's beyond the budget of this car. Put a picture up of the sort of idea of what I would like it to look like, with the exception of probably gonna run a different bumper. Also note, that's not my Drift F80 back there, that's fast single turbo one. Drift F80 has air conditioning, all the nice amenities. There's a lot of track events I can't go to or can't do. Like I went to Hyperfest in Virginia. I trailered my F80 there, drive the guy from Drift HQ and Adam LZ, and it was a great time. I had a ton of fun doing it. The only thing was the times that I got to go on track was like this hour window, and then they would go on track the next different hour because they all have cages. I got to hang out with them between things. Like I wouldn't go out of session or they'd have a problem, so we'd talk and hang out. It'd be nice to have a car that's a little bit more nimble, a little bit lighter. My other car is probably in the 36, 37, 3,800 pounds with me in it. It'd be nice to have a car that's a little bit lighter, a little bit more nimble, and has a cage, that way I can do more events. I looked into getting an M2 comp. I almost bought one. I didn't bid high enough. It went for a few $100s more than I wanted to pay. That would be just like my Drift F80, other than it'd be an M2 comp, so wide body, etc. And it'd be super simple to do. It was a race stick shift, it was very white, very black interior. I thought about that and I decided it was not the best thing for me to look into other ones because they're all way too much money or really damaged at auction. This one had a bad motor because it was hitting the oil cooler. I have like 3 or 4 F80 motors, so it wouldn't be a big deal for me. I was just looking, was on Copart. My friend from the Bronx had this car sitting there. This car was a rear wheel drive B58 car, built transmission, etc. It was very fast, and the owner crashed into the front of the car. The car was sitting there. Owner of the shop in the Bronx, they bought it from him. They put a manual transmission in the car and they were gonna make it something to drive around, potentially drift, have some fun with. They never really finished it. I was asking them if they know any cars that are blown up or crashed or whatever, since they deal with so many of these customers, that they'd want to sell. They offered it to me at a extremely good price. So I said in the beginning of the video, it's sort of kind of maybe potentially my car because I didn't buy it from him yet. He said, take the car, look at it. If you want it, buy it from me. But I'm at the point today where I'm gonna, I guess, buy it from him and then do everything I want to do. I would love to go HTK and buy all their fancy fenders, doors, etc. It ends up being, I think, in the 12 to 15,000 euro range, plus shipping to America. Plus, I heard it takes many weeks or months to have it all made and shipped here. That is way beyond the budget of this car and my goals. And it's also, like I said, it's already rear wheel drive B58. My goal is sort of tear all the wiring out, everything out, cluster, airbags, etc. Have it caged. I talked to guys at Link. We're gonna see if we can work together. We're trying to figure out something to get a Link ECU on the car to run a full standalone instead of running the factory ECU. I have other friends that are like, don't do that. Run the stock ECU, it's fine. You can make it work. With all the wiring for the ABS sensors, DSC, steering angle, etc. that are gonna be removed to make everything work the way I want to, I don't think leaving the stock ECU is the best option. On an F80, I think we get away with more because they offer like immobilized deletes and stuff like that. You can like tear it more down to a standalone. This car, that's not a thing. Not just the wiring of leaving 20 pounds difference of wiring or 40 pounds difference of wiring. More the simplicity of, instead of going through OEM diagrams for days trying to figure out what wire we're allowed to keep, what wire we're allowed to cut, everything needs to get ripped out, thrown away, and start from scratch. With a Link ECU, they're gonna try to make a plug and play adapter for it so it works. I'm gonna have to go through what wires I need, what I do in the factory harness, and then tell them what they can do. There's gonna be a lot of learning curve on the Link side. There's also an ECU called SCS Delta that makes a standalone, but they don't do flex fuel, they don't do port injection. And to run the power I'm gonna wanna run, I want port injection. I'll leave this motor stock for now. There's a spare one I have that I can build that's already here in mine, but I'll leave the motor stock. Should make 600-700 horsepower in 85, probably in the 400 range on pump gas, which is probably seems really low, but it is because I'm gonna get rid of the direct injection. Just run port injection for simplicity of the link. The direction injection 6-cylinder box won't be out for a few more months. So I guess the goals are sort of gut it. I have a wide body kit already ordered, fake M2 type thing. I'm not buying an M2 comp or an M2 with the widened fenders for right now because it's just not realistic. This is really cheap and needs a ton of work, and I'll show you guys why it's so crappy. But I'll get a sunroof delete for now. I'm not buying a full sunroof. Also, HEK stuff I don't think is expensive. Their whole carbon fiber roof is 600 euros. In America, it's $1,300. Their doors are not expensive. It just adds up so quickly when you do a full car. But we'll walk around the car right now and show you guys some clips of just how it looks, the state in which it's in. I mean, I have ECUs and bags, the whole car's parts, missing one harness, missing this, missing that. We're gonna just get rid of everything, tear it all down, rip out everything we don't need and start from scratch, wire the chassis harness up, get Link to help me out with the ECU wiring. I don't know what cluster I'm gonna, even though it sounds super crazy to build this car, I'm trying to not go insane on it in terms of insane dash that's $1,500, body wiring harness that starts at $1,500. I'm gonna look into my options for cluster wiring and try to keep it all on the lower end, even though it's going to add up extremely quickly and probably will get relatively crazy. I might start with the stock diff, stock axles, just to see how good they work, and just once again for cost reasons. Something else that I'm thinking about doing, I'm not sure what you guys think, is doing a DCT in it. I have multiple spare DCT boxes, transmissions. These manuals are actually worth a lot of money because they're so uncommon. Selling the manual box will cover like the transmission computer and stuff for the DCT. Doesn't cover wiring it, doesn't cover everything else, but I have one spare DCT transmission right now. I have multiple sets of DCT clutches. HEK HTG works really good, it seems. I don't think it's a great option. I think someone should just buy a dog box and put a dog box in the car for 3, 4, 5 grand if you're trying to drift and want reliability. But the DCT is super cool for shifting. It's like a sequential. The dog box will never do that, and the cool factor is there. So we're gonna get into some of this, and we're gonna start tearing into it. But also, if you guys like this, be sure to subscribe if you want to see more of this, and give it a thumbs up. Leave a comment if you think this is good. If you think it's bad, you can still leave a comment. Let me know what you think I should do differently. Also, I'm trying to find like sunroof plug delete. A whole roof's $1,200. The little deletes for E92 and stuff are like 200 bucks. I'm gonna throw one of those in there. It might not look perfect, but it'll be good enough because like the seal's the same. Yeah, the goal is just super like lightweight is a really important thing without chopping up the car past like the point of no return. If someone sold America quarter panel replacements and like rear kit like they do for other cars, and it was like a reasonable price, I would do that for weight reasons. The goal of this, even though it's very heavy to start with, the goal is to get it as light as possible by any means possible, but then I have to add a cage back in to make it a fun car that I can go drive with friends with. It's probably a horrible idea to have it's not gonna be seat-time car, it's gonna have too much power and stuff, but it'd be a better idea to get something else. Like I have another car here that's an option that I can show a picture of you guys too. E46 with a full S54 drivetrain. That should be a seat-time car. It'd be really easy to put an angle kit and e-brake on it. Has S54 motor, trans diff, dual clutch in it, twin-ish clutch. A lot of nice things. That'd be a great seat-time car and way easier, like 2 days worth of work, drift ready. This is a way bigger project and I hate doing projects, but I think the outcome would be more me. Like I drive an F80 drift car, I have that F80. I mean, I like E36 and 46, but I like turbo cars more. So I think that this B58 is gonna be more me. Also turbo wise, I already spoke to different people for turbo manifold to run turbo kit I want. We'll get into all that in future videos in terms of power goals and etc. But this is sort of the base. This is where we're at and we're gonna start tearing it down and hopefully get down to nothing. So the car was hitting this corner pretty bad. They changed all the control arm stuff, even though we're gonna rip that right off and do like a proper angle kit to make it all work. The motor actually I was told has 1,200 miles on it, which is pretty great. It's not the original one from the car. The car is 2019, about I think 30,000 miles I was told. I don't know the exact. They did in converting it to manual, they actually changed the whole body harness in the car. So talking about like weight reduction stuff, I have a spare full body harness that came with the car. They're like 50, 60, 70 pounds right out of it, just to get an idea of what we'd be pulling out. It is all I'm tearing into it already, just tearing it all down. But motor wise, this motor, all its low miles and the trans looks super clean. It was just plopped in here. I got some coils, I'm missing like a high pressure fuel pump, I'm missing direct injectors, I'm missing an intake manifold. That's from a 4-cylinder just for the throttle body to plug in to be able to start the car in theory. There's just so much everywhere. We checked for like water in the motor and stuff like that. That all seems good. The motor looks super clean, so I'm not that worried about the motor being able to run. I trust the guys I got from. There's no reason for them to BS me. We work together all the time. We're just gonna tear it all down. Originally I wanted to try to get it to run as is first, but to install the missing wiring, ECU, whatever is just damaged from like being put together, I don't think it's worth the day or two of work when I know it's not gonna say, I know it's not gonna work. Especially when the motor with the bore scope all looked good. There was nothing weird inside. This is the damage. I have a front bumper over there. I'm just really missing a fender, exterior wise, and the hood is damaged. Like I said, it was a big turbo kit. has a hole in the hood so they could get, I guess, a little bit more fresh air in. So I'll need a hood and a fender, and then the body's pretty complete. This side's sort of shit. It was hit. There's probably a decent amount of Bondo fixing all this. This seems pretty low because they sanded down lower. It doesn't line up great and stuff like that, which is a little annoying. I'm gonna look into cost of a new door. I might rock this door for now. I'm not sure. I might go right to a different door if it's relatively cheap, and it will probably fit up a little bit better. Like I learned in my F80, when the door's hit and they fix it, it never lines up perfectly. Starting with a fresh door is always better. If this didn't line up after, this could always be made nicer. But yeah, that was the damage was on this side. We'll show you guys. Islam's already tearing it all out, which is pretty cool. And we've got just a plethora of interior parts everywhere. So you enjoy this? It's good? He likes it. This is like great. I worked at Evo shop years ago. I tore apart like interiors, like they'd probably part out Evos all the time. People crash, blew up, etc. And then he'd sell the shell, sell parts separately. And tearing apart cars like always great. I got to the point where I was like day and a half, and the car would be like stripped. Like everything was off. And also you end up with a bunch of hardware. So you'll work on a customer's car in the future, and like these random OEM torque screws for door panels, etc. You end up with a bunch of extra stuff, which is always great. So he's gonna keep tearing it up. So the car is really stripped down. We're gonna walk around it and go inside. Even the engine bay, there's literally no factory modules, nothing left. There's a little bit of the engine harness still plugged in. ABS modules unplugged and just sort of sitting here. We'll go to the inside real quick to show you just how stripped down they got it. There's like nothing. When I say there's nothing, I mean this is door wiring we still have to sort through and see what's what. But inside the car, it is bare chassis. So the next step really right now is we're still trying to figure out a lot of the little things, how everything's gonna work. But we're gonna bring this car to a cage guy and then have them cage it with proper cage. I guess like an 8-point cage, what you're supposed to do. And then I have to figure out all the little things, sunroof lug, what front bumper I'm gonna buy, what hood, all that stuff. Also, if you guys like this video, subscribe right now and give it a thumbs up. If you don't, I'll be really upset. So I really appreciate that. I hope you guys wanna see B58 drift cars and M240 drift cars. So please do that right now. Really appreciate it. It lets me know that everyone likes this. Also, there's something else I should be doing or I'm missing in building a drift car. That'd be really cool if you guys write it down below. I don't really do things like this. We did the one F80, which worked out really good. There's a huge learning curve. So if there's any info of things I'm doing wrong right now, it'd be sick if someone was like, that's wrong, do X, Y, and Z instead. Car strip, even like the back, dude, it's crazy. The worst part about this whole stripping process was we thought it was gonna be like engine harness, 120 pounds. Carpet, 100 pounds. E36 carpet's like 70 pounds. This carpet, I don't know where it is. It's like 20 pounds. What was the carpet, 20 pounds? Less. They said less. Everything is not that heavy. Full body harness is all like, yo, 70 pounds, 41 pounds. So nothing.
47.
How did it?
47.
It was 47?
Yeah.
It was 47 pounds of the harness. We thought it was gonna be, so like, we'll show you guys. We have all this torn apart. The whole shop's a mess. This is like one of the harnesses in here, which we weighed like this, and this is without modules. We have another one right here. This whole thing with modules, etc., was 47 pounds. That's horrible. All these things, I thought like this car's 3,500 pounds on me. I'm like, this car's 3,500 pounds. We're gonna get down to like 2,500 for a cage. I haven't waited, I'm sort of scared. This is still gonna be a pig. We're gonna try maybe cut like little doors, cut the trunk up a little bit, but without really even back half in the car, you'd probably save 200-300 pounds, and that's not in the budget or realm of what I'm trying to do right now. But you can come look at all these other parts. Like, E36 carpet is like 70 pounds. This is literally so light that I'm like, this might just get peeled back the insulation and slapped right back in after. I mean, all these little, it all does add up. Like each of these little modules are like half a pound. Everything does add up. The seats are really heavy, that's about it. I don't know what we pulled out. Yo, what's your total guess on what we pulled out?
3,000 pounds.
No, shut the, we did not pull out 3,000 pounds. 300, 400?
Probably.
Like 250, 300.
But you still gotta put weight back in there.
I know, that's the problem. I pull out, they were saying 200, 300. My problem is to do all this and have a 3,500 pound car and then try to drift with everyone like E36s that have more grip in this pig. It's gonna be like 1,000,000 horsepower once again, then you go through tires, etc. It gets really bad. So we'll see what other weight we can take out without getting extremely costly. We'll just cut a lot of things up that we're allowed to. Yeah, I mean, it sort of sucks. The weight is not what I thought it would be. It's sort of trash. The car's like heavy as hell. It's really bad. I thought it was gonna be great. But yeah, we got like a ton of modules, fuses, etc. I bet we pulled out like 300 plus. Maybe we'll go through and try to weigh some more of this stuff to get a better idea. Or we'll weigh it at the cage. Everything online said 3,500 stock. We're done for right now on the car. And then the next video up, we're gonna be tearing the motor out, talking about what the goals are on the motor, the ECU we're gonna use, transmission we're gonna use, and then also probably little things like tear the windshield out, maybe the rear windshield to make it a little bit easier for the Cage guy. And then following that one, we're gonna send it out to Cage, send it out to paint. So I hope you guys like watching. If you do, be sure to subscribe like I said before. Give it a thumbs up if you like the video, and stay tuned for more.